like clock. I can't stop. Fuck around, make my 40 pop.
Alright guys, I'm going to be in a little bit of a rush today. Today is Super Bowl Sunday, and of course my Miami Heat plays at 1 o'clock p.m. But regardless, let's get into the actual review. Now this episode right here was definitely a very good episode. One of the things that I do want to point out is that there was not a lot of action in this episode. This episode right here is more of a tension building episode, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. I actually do like that as well. One of the things that we do have to understand is that Boruto right now is in a state where they're trying to like differentiate itself from the Boruto manga, and they're doing a very good job of that. Now of course they're sticking to the same prime timeline, and of course they're not swaying too far from it, because of course that right there could also be viewed as a very bad thing. But in this particular episode right here, we got to see a lot of sentimental and more impactful scenes other than just straight up actual fighting. Now Konohama's in this episode, he seemed to be a lot like a leader. Now of course we understand that Konohama has been getting a lot of flack mainly because of course coming into the anime of Boruto, we had such high hopes for Konohama, and as of yet he still hasn't necessarily come close to what we thought Konohama would actually be. Now in this episode right here, it seemed like he took a bit of initiative and basically got the team together, and of course they basically came up with a plan. Now of course I do have to point out the plan that they did agree to actually go through with wasn't necessarily Konohama's original plan, which is still like a kind of slight towards Konohama. My man's Konohama literally cannot catch a break, but of course they went along with Boruto and Katasuke's plan. Now in this episode right here, Katasuke's character basically went up or shut up like tenfold. Katasuke has always been viewed as one of the more annoying characters. Of course we understand that he's definitely important to the overall supremacy of the Hidden Leaf Village, just because of the sheer fact that scientific technology is going to be the future of the Shinobi Way, and of course Katasuke is going to be the pioneer behind that in the Hidden Leaf Village as of right now. But just overall character, a lot of people just did not like him. In this episode right here, he gained a lot of points within the fan base. I'm pretty sure a lot of the fans right now, they're actually feeling Katasuke, they're actually feeling good about Katasuke and his character overall. He basically was willing to put his life on the line for the good of the mission. Now that right there isn't necessarily the smartest idea, man, because as I said, the future of the Shinobi world is going towards scientific technology, and Katasuke being the main person in front of that trend for the Hidden Leaf Village, it wouldn't necessarily be smart for him to just sacrifice himself in a mission such as this. But regardless, him actually taking that initiative and being willing to actually risk his life for the good of the mission, that right there just speaks volumes to his character, and of course very good character development. Now I'm not gonna lie to you guys, this right here does have me feeling like Katasuke is probably gonna die in the future. Now we don't necessarily know specifically in terms of manga minimum, because we don't necessarily know exactly where he is in the manga, and later on when the manga is actually at its point right now. But just him having the character building that we did see in this episode, I don't know, maybe it's just the death of Mujino rubbing off of me. Of course we understand that Mujino had a very big character build up leading up to the last episode of Boruto. Let me know what you guys think about that in the comment section below. But regardless, Katasuke did a very good job in this episode, and I'm pretty sure he's probably going to be a very big focal point, and of course the development of not only Boruto but the development of the Hidden Leaf Village in the future as well. Now another thing I do want to talk about is of course the Kato organization. I feel like the scene with Delta and Code was definitely very interesting, not only just because of course it's Delta and Code, both of them are very interesting characters upon themselves, but also because they're from the Kato organization, and we get to see exactly how the Kato organization discusses things and coexist among each other. One of the things that I'm definitely finding out is the fact that the Kato organization, they want to be in the good graces of Jigen. It's very clear that Jigen is going to be the leader of the Kato organization, and 100% most likely going to be the strongest character of the Kato organization. I know we always like to compare the Kato organization to the Akatsuki, so I do want to point this out. It's not necessarily 100% set in stone that Jigen is going to be the strongest person in the Kato organization, just because of the sheer fact that back with the Akatsuki, some people argue that hey, Itachi or even Obito could have potentially even beat Nagato back in the day. Me personally, Pain is one of my favorite characters, so I think that's completely bonkers, but regardless, I just wanted to bring up that possibility. Now over the past couple of episodes, it's been very widely understood that there is a traitor amongst the Kato organization. Now of course when I do the anime reviews, I want to come across as though I didn't necessarily read the Boruto manga, but a lot of audience knows of course we're all tapped into the Boruto manga. But for the anime only, I'm going to entertain this just because of course it would definitely be a very entertaining thing to do in a review like this. So first things first, what you have to understand is that they understand it's going to be a traitor because the blimp was actually crashed. I think that right there would automatically take Amato out of the equation, man, because as of right now, it doesn't necessarily seem like Amato is going to be the action type of character. It doesn't necessarily seem like he'd actually be able to go on the blimp and actually destroy the blimp. Now I do want to point out, of course, because of the advent of scientific technology, Katasuke is now like a Genin or Chunin level character. Now we have absolutely no idea, but from what we've seen, it just doesn't necessarily seem like I would be able to do such a thing like that. Now there are two characters that didn't necessarily get the quote-unquote maintenance that everybody else in the Kato organization did get, and from what Amato did say, that right there could actually determine who the actual traitor was. As I said, the two people that did not get the maintenance was Kashin Koji and Boro. Kashin Koji, as of right now, he looks 100% for the cause. Like, he's basically on Ao's neck. He basically wants Ao to actually kill Team 7. Now, that right there doesn't completely take Kashin Koji out of the conversation, man, because that could still just be a cover, and it probably would definitely be helpful for a character like Ao to actually vouch for Kashin Koji after this mission when they actually do try to uncover the traitor. So that pretty much leaves Boro, and I think that Boro as of right now would have to be, for anime only viewers, would probably have to be the #1 suspect. As of right now, Boro has pretty much had limited, extremely limited time in the Boruto anime. He seems extremely mysterious, and of course he did not take the maintenance test. Why, we have absolutely no idea. It actually seemed like he had absolutely no reason to not take the maintenance test. You understand that Kashin Koji specifically was on orders by Jigen to actually retrieve the vessel, so that right there is a very good reason why he didn't necessarily take the maintenance test. So of course Boro, in my opinion, for anime only viewers out there, would probably be the #1 suspect. Now of course Delta and Code, their specific scene was not necessarily only surrounded around the traitor, but of course Delta and Code, it seemed like they were about to fight as well. Code basically said that he wanted to kind of interrogate every person in the Kata organization to specifically find out exactly who the traitor is. Now of course I think that Code is probably not going to be 100% a good taijutsu type of character from the anime alone. I mean, we've seen Delta kick multiple things, we've seen Delta smash multiple things. It seems like she's going to be very good in taijutsu, and her strength is going to be off of the charts. From Code actually trying to attack Jigen, it doesn't look like that's the thing that Code is good at. One of the things that I think that Code could potentially be good at is either genjutsu or some sort of interrogation tactic, or it could be the fact that Code is elite at scientific technology. We have absolutely no idea at this particular point. Even the manga readers have absolutely no idea how good Code is. In my opinion, I think that Code is probably going to be a very good character. He literally has the potential to be on Naruto or Sasuke's level, or even potentially even above those two level, just because of the sheer fact that we understand that a lot of the members in the Kata organization are specifically built to rival characters like that. If they weren't necessarily going to rival characters like Naruto and Sasuke, none of this would be a big deal. But in the future, I'm pretty sure it's literally just a matter of time before we get to see a sort of Kata organization battle between either Delta and Code, Kashin Koji and Code, or even Boro and Code, or potentially even somebody else other than Code, Delta and Boro. Kashin Koji and Boro, we have absolutely no idea. I think it's probably a matter of time, because as of right now, it seems like there is a lot of tension in the Kata organization, and there is not a lot of trust amongst the Kata organization. Very similar to what we did see with the Akatsuki. Of course, they didn't necessarily fight each other, but what we do understand is that no one really trusted each other. Of course, Orochimaru and Itachi fought, but that's besides the point. Even though it does seem like the Kata organization has a more homey and more family type of feel to it, there's still, it just isn't that much trust within the Kata organization. Now towards the end of the episode, we did see a scene where Kashin Koji basically confronted Ao and talked about how this right here is actually a test for Ao. What we understand is that Ao right now is actually viewed as one of the legendary shinobis from the 4th Great Shinobi War. For Ao to even be doing such a thing as teaming up with the Kata organization is absolutely absurd. And now we have a situation where Ao himself, he basically understands that it's very unlikely for Ao to actually be 100% committed to the cause. Now in my opinion, I think that Ao, as right now, is 100% committed to the cause. I think that he literally has nothing to lose. As of right now, we don't really know exactly what Ao's backstory is, where Ao is right now. We understand that Ao, he said that he hasn't necessarily been back to the Hidden Mist Village in a very long time. So because of that, I mean, we have absolutely no idea what Ao's living situation is as of right now. And from what we're seeing, what Ao is saying, he's just a tool for the Kata organization. So we have to see in the future if Ao is actually going to be committed to the mission. Now I do want to point out Kashin Koji, of course we understand that he's going to be a very important character. A lot of the manga only readers understood that, and in my opinion, I thought that how the anime would actually portray Kashin Koji would definitely be a very important thing to look for. As of right now, Kashin Koji is feeling a lot like how he did feel in the Boruto manga, Big Pause. He's feeling like a very important character and a very ominous character off of the bat. He doesn't necessarily seem like some sort of fodder. He seems like somebody that's going to be a very important and very good character in the anime of Boruto. So of course, I'm super excited for that, and of course I'm super excited to see Kashin Koji actually get into some sort of action. But let me know what you guys think about this episode in the comment section below. As I said, I think it was definitely a very good episode. It wasn't necessarily a lot of action, but there was a lot of tension building in this episode and a lot of character building for not only the Kata organization, but especially Katasuke. But let me know what you guys think. It's been your boy Bar B, and we out.
It's a knife.